am also a HBCU grad. I attended FAMU, but my sister is a Howard grad as well. So I consider myself an honorary Bison.
And that's all right.
A little rivalry. So thank you for your acceptance. So how did attending Howard University cultivate the woman you are and yet still becoming?
Well, it was, how can I say this? It was continuation of life as I had always known it. Okay. You know, because both my parents and their siblings and my grandparents who attended college and university all went to HBCUs. Mm-hmm. So I grew up in this influence. Texas Southern University is in the heart of the community in which I grew. And actually, I went to college before I went to elementary school because I was in the nursery school at Texas Southern University before I went to first grade. So I was always in the HBCU environment. Mm-hmm. Always. I'm saying this to you and I'm thinking, yeah, this is really right. I grew up like this. This is how I grew. So, but what was different was it was away from home, mm-hmm. Without the comfort of home and really being on your own in a way, because you know how that is as a college student, you have to manage your time. You have to drive your own bus, so to speak. Yeah, you do. So it felt very familiar to me and very right. I just felt very familiar and very right. But for the first time, I was meeting people. It was not the first time in my life, but now I was going to school with people from many different places, not in my neighborhood, or the part of the city of Houston in which I was growing. And that was new and exciting. And now, instead of having the same subjects 5 days a week, I would have the same subject maybe 3 days a week or 2 days a week. But driving your own bus, you got to be responsible, And I had been taught that as a high school student, but it really was important there. And I saw it. And then being a drama student, well, the thing about the College of Fine Arts is it was applied art. So you were really, it wasn't textbook. And I had textbook courses and applied arts courses in an HBCU setting. It can't get better than that.
Oh, I know. I know. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Where did you go to school? You told me already.
Yes, I went to FAMU, but I have 3 older sisters. So I was going to say that's kind of a similar experience. I grew up in the HBCU culture. My parents made sure that we all went to separate HBCUs that matched our personalities. So so my other sister went to Texas Southern for law school, but she went to Fisk for undergrad. My other sister, Howard, another one for Hampton, and me, FAMU. And honestly, we each always say we made the best decision in choosing our universities, our HBCUs, because they're perfect for us.
You are lucky. You've got very, very smart parents looking like, yeah, you are lucky. Good.
Yes, thank you. Yes. And I'm curious, did you ever consider attending another HBCU or another university?
Oh, yeah. When I was applying, I applied to Hampton. I applied to Fisk. My father told me you can apply anywhere you want to, but you're going to Howard. And he was pointing out the College of Fine Arts at Howard University and its academic standing, and also the fact that Howard University players had traveled under the sponsorship of the United States State Department to Ireland. And he was showing, he was saying, this is where you want to go.
Right.
And he was right. Owen Dotson was the was the head of the drama department when I attended. And Owen Dotson was one of the foremost figures in theater literacy.
Mhm.
And he was amazing. He was a titan. He was.
Right. And you know, when I think or hear the name Phylicia Rashād, the first thing that comes to mind is a woman who leads her life with intentionality. So why was it important for you to become an AKA, an AKA?
Well, I had been a member of a girls' club in high school, but I left that club because I felt that the sponsors did not respect our choices of young pledges. And for me, that was a big deal because I'm telling the truth. You heard that bell. I grew up in a home where my thoughts and opinions were not stifled. They were not stifled. So I had a great regard for my own intelligence and ability to choose. And when it seemed like the sponsors were going to sit on top of us, I thought, no, I don't think I can be in this. When I came to Howard University and I saw this sorority, no one was sitting on top of them. These were young women who were self-directed. They were intelligent. They were jazzy. They were smooth. But they were making choices, and they were self-directed, and you could see that they had chosen paths for themselves in life. They knew where they wanted to go.
Oh, yeah.
And I liked that. I liked that a lot. Plus, when I was a young girl, my Aunt Betty was a student at Texas Southern University, and she had pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha. So that seed was kind of planted there.
For sure. I could see that two of my sisters are AKAs and one is a Delta. And the two sisters who are AKAs, they have daughters. Listen, my 6-year-old niece, you can't tell her anything else. She already knows, yes, that seed has been planted and it's no changing her mind.
Seeds are planted. The seeds are planted. Yeah.
And you were coined as the mother of the Black community at the 2010 NAACP Image Awards. And you're known as such an iconic trailblazing force that people are only privy to your success, but not your failures or rejections. So can you speak to one of your greatest failures and why it was an important aspect along your path to success?
Yes, I was an original cast member of The Wiz. And I was in the chorus. And I was changing costumes all night long, going into different scenes. But I was also the understudy for Glinda, the Good Witch of the South. Dee Dee Bridgewater was playing the part every night, and I was her understudy. When Dee Dee was leaving to go to the LA company, I don't know why I imagined that I would be chosen to assume that role permanently, as a principal player, let me put it that way. But I wasn't chosen. The second understudy was chosen. And there I was. So it was very disappointing. It was very disappointing. I took a leave of absence because I had earned the hours for vacation. And I came to California, and I was in California for a month. And just before I was to return, I was invited to a performance of a chorus line.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you're familiar with this musical, but it's all about being in a chorus, auditioning for the chorus, those things you go through, being selected, what it means. And as I sat there watching it, there was a song in that musical entitled What I Did for Love.
Mhm.
And as I sat there watching that and I listened to that song, I said, that's right. That's why I sit on that munchkin stool every night. That's why I'm in that chorus. That's what I do. I do this for love. I couldn't get back to my munchkin stool fast enough. And not only did I continue in the regular things that I was doing in the show, but I became a swing dancer. And in one performance, I would perform most of my regular roles, be a swing dancer, and be Glinda at the end. I stretched. I did more than I was originally contracted to do. This would happen again in Dreamgirls, where I was understudying a role that I would not be selected for as a principal player. The second understudy would be selected. But I had learned a very important lesson now. I had learned detachment. I had learned that the most important thing was what my mother had always been trying to tell me. You do what you do with love and with purpose, and you're not having any expectations about what will come of it. This is how I watched my mother work for years. My mother is a poet.
Mhm.
She didn't get up every morning and write from 3 to 6 in the morning because she thought somebody was going to notice her, or because she, I heard Toni Morrison once say, oh, well, this is how we wrote because we weren't going to make any money at it. Nobody's going to make any money. You do it because it's in you to do.
Right. Yeah.
And so an experience like that, could do one or two things depending on how you are. It can break you, or it can support you in moving forward with a better understanding and a stronger intention.
Yes. I feel like I needed that too, because something actually recently happened that didn't go as I planned. And like days, weeks. And it was just sort of like this whole being my own worst critic. And I let it get into my head. So yes.
No, that's normal though, isn't it? That's human.
That is.
That's,
Yes.
but
And
you chose to get up, right?
yes, look, I'm out in LA. I have one goal, a vision, so I have to,
Right.
bounce back. And that goes, along your path to success. Failure, rejection, things not going as planned. It's all about how you approach the situation. So
it's happening for a good reason.
yes,
And you can't always,
no.
in the moment you can't see it.
Not at all. And so have you reset your sights on new goals you would like to achieve at this stage and phase in your life?
Oh, yes, I have. Most definitely I have.
Yeah.
There's some projects I want to realize. Yeah. And I feel very close to that. I feel very close to having that happen. But my mother also taught me, I tell the truth. When you hear the bell ring, you've told the truth. My mother also taught me that it's good not to say too much.
Okay.
You hold it to yourself and don't dissipate the energy by talking about it too much.
Okay, well, I'll just be on the lookout for it. And I will send all the positive energy your way and vibes.
Oh, I thank you for that.
Yes. And I'm going to switch gears really quickly. I know we're running out of time. What has been your greatest joy in motherhood?
Oh my goodness. The greatest joy. just having them, you know, just having them, because I think it was with the birth of my son, my first child, that I began to feel beautiful. Mhm.
Wow. Okay.
And all of a sudden, life had life had another meaning.
Mhm.
It had a greater meaning, you know. Yeah, you feel differently about your body because you understand your body in another way. That your body is a gift, a real gift, to be able to bring forth another human being and to nurture that person from your own body, you know.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a plan that I didn't make. That's a design that I didn't create, but that I'm a part of it. Children teach me a lot. My children taught me a lot. Then comes the part where they teach you that you have to let go.
Let go.
That's, yeah, you got to let go, because just like you and me as adults, you know, everybody grows, right?
Mhm.
And they're going to make choices that you wouldn't necessarily make for them.
But they still
But,
call their mom.
I mean, the point is that those choices have to be respected as their choices.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's not easy, you know?
Mhm.
So you never stop learning and you never stop growing.
Well, that's so funny that you said that, because that was actually my last question. What lesson has your daughter taught you that you carry with you and will continue to do so? But you answered it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This was great. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Yes. Pleasure meeting you. Have a good one.
Wait, Dontaira. You can't just leave like that.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Miss Rashād. I always have to give her her roses. I always tell the story really quickly. She's one of the journalists who I connected with way back before I or my clients were even like somebody at all. And she's someone who I've seen evolve over the year, who's written for countless magazines and countless outlets. And I always tell her she don't just come and write for them. She always comes in to somehow taking charge. So even like the last girl that you just interviewed with, like she be the one assigning those things, you know? So I would just have to give her roses, because she has really evolved and climbed through the ranks and just nonstop. Even though she didn't may not have gotten that job she wanted, she continues to stay working for somebody, writing somewhere and running their editorial programs.
And I'm gonna tell you something else. You didn't get that job because there's something else better for you.
thank you.
Uh-huh. That has been my experience. I wouldn't just say that because it sounds good,
Right, right.
because it's true.
Look, I appreciate that. And that's actually the experience I was talking about when I thought something was going to happen and it didn't happen. After 2 months of interviewing and countless projects, it was like, actually, we're going a different direction. I was like, what? So yes, I needed to hear those words. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about your rejection and failure, because yeah.
Yeah, it's, don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Thank you so
No
much. We really
problem.
appreciate it.